Hey, besties. Welcome back to another episode of the Baddie Besties podcast. I'm your host, Elisa.
And I'm your co-host, Samira, aka Samsky. And today we have the Love Island reunion clearing the air with our special guest. But before so, let's get into our trigger warning. This episode contains contents of sexual assault, racism. So my ladies that are listening to this, from my heart to yours, please take care of yourself as you listen. Now, before we dive into today's reunion, we acknowledge something very important. On Baddie Besties, we do not condone sexual assault, we do not condone racism, and we stand with survivors and believe their stories.
The reality is staggering. According to recent reports, fewer than 1 in 4 sexual assaults are reported to police. And out of every 1,000 assaults, only about 57 lead to an arrest. Around 11 are referred for prosecution, and only 7 result in a conviction. Far too often, victims are not believed and justice is not served.
And Baddie Besties is a platform created for women by women. Okay, bestie.
Hey, bestie.
While today's reunion centers on reflection and reconnection, we're giving a space for individuals, our special guests, of course, to address certain allegations and responsibly while staying rooted in our unwavering belief in survivors and just doing better, because we all need to do better, okay?
Yep. A little disclaimer here. The statements that are shared in this episode reflect the personal perspective of our guest. This conversation does not serve as legal determination of events and should not be interpreted as such.
Yeah.
Yes.
Period. We're not doing don't come for us. I know y'all on the internet. Y'all getting the Twitter fingers.
Twitter fingers.
So just know that. Over the past couple of weeks, we've witnessed an army of activists rise up. We saw them use their platforms to highlight the societal issues, the pressures that Love Island has exposed. One of the loudest voices that I'm honestly very, very proud to announce, but before I do so, has become a viral sensation, calling out major creators, brands, even reputable news outlets. Let me tell you, he held no remorse because he believed he needed to stand on justice. And with microaggressions, racism, colorism directed to Black women, his outspoken support, especially for dark-skinned Black women, is something we haven't seen from a Black man in a very long time. He grew his TikTok following to over 130,000 plus. Taylor's D1 hater that got, I don't know, they were coming for him, child, because the page was coming down, and he made sure with his persistency to make sure to get his page back up and running. At the same time, we hold this conversation today before I introduce it. I know it's a long awaiting introduction, but he deserves this intro today. This conversation is holding space for accountability. Baddie Besties believes it's speaking truth while also unpacking difficult moments. And that includes confronting missteps alongside meaningful advocacy. Without further ado, please help us to welcome EJ to Baddie Besties.
Hi, bestie.
How you guys doing today? You guys look lovely.
Thank you. How are you? How's your day going?
Listen, I'm amazing. I'm ecstatic today. I'm trying to keep myself in high spirits despite everything that's going on, because I feel like the conversations are already starting. And you know, it's always stages to these conversations. It's the reunion night, and then you got the after discussions, and then it's just gonna last, and we're gonna be having to talk about everything, you know what I'm saying? So
we gonna unpack it.
We need to talk about it.
I mean,
there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about, but I just have to say thank you for being here today. We are in the Big Apple, and we're filming literally. Reunion ended pretty much at midnight for most. It's
right.
11 a.m. today, noon right now. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So thank you, EJ, for your time. We're excited for an honest, unfiltered conversation, diving into not only the reunion, but the experiences.
Yep.
But without further ado, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room, because we're going to keep it a stack here. So I want to, pretty much this segment is tailored to, I would say, you addressing your truth, because there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of speculation. So first thing first, wanting to ask you about the sexual assault clarification here. So during your live with Jesse Wu, the topic of sexual assault claim came after Huda's Call Her Daddy interview that majority of you guys saw, sharing her lived experience. Some viewers may have interpreted your comments to suggest that Huda sexually assaulted Chris while you said you believe the allegations in a certain way. Can you clarify your statement and bring light to what you meant during that live?
Of course. So basically, I want to start off by saying no, I do not condone anything having to do with sexual assault. And I also believe all victims when they're told. That has been my stance before, and it's still my stance now. I do want to say that when it comes to her, I don't even want to say her name because of how serious that situation got when literally it was clipped. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I did, from the moment that it was said that I don't believe her, I did say actually I do believe her. You know what I'm saying?
You did.
And regardless of how I started the sentence, I'm just speak a certain way. Everybody speaks differently. It wasn't said, they're using that one word. Well, you use this word when you could have said you're trying to look for a problem. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, I do believe her, especially based on her behaviors and et cetera. Like, they have classes on this stuff, and when you're in psychology and you're learning about this stuff and they're showing you behavior patterns that suggest these things happen, it was a larger conversation that needed to be had. So it was those type of like in-depth conversations, they take longer to unpack because it's never a 3-minute conversation when you're talking to something as serious as sexual assault. You feel me? If we were talking about sexual assault, why would you take a clip that is 30 seconds and we're talking about like an hours long worth of conversation? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when we were on that podcast, we unpacked the whole situation and they took apart. Like, when you take things out of context, it could easily get misconstrued. And that's what had happened, you know what I'm saying, for her. Like, and she hasn't even watched that girl. She hasn't even watched that podcast herself. She hasn't watched anything. She just saw the clip that probably somebody sent to her. You feel what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
then like my thing is, my For You page is different from everybody else's For You page. My For You page, because of what I post, because of my hashtags, my algorithm is really just set to Olandria and Shelly and positive things about them. Like
Mhm.
that's who I follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna see things about other people that, you know, necessarily I don't be liking to talk about, because it got tiring. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it got tiring having the same conversations. You know, once the conversation about racism and you're not understanding that, I feel like I gotta dead the conversation because it's like I don't want to go in circles. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like I can definitely agree in the sense of when you have a whole hour-long conversation, right? These topics we're talking about, sexual assault, racism, etc., they're big, heavy topics, right? And there's a lot of pain in those topics.
and they
So
all
it can't
intertwine in some way. So it's like
exactly.
you have to be very specific on what you say. You know what I'm saying? And you also have to make sure that people understand what you're saying, because in my head, I thought I made perfect sense. You feel what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But people actually decided to not listen to what I was actually, the point of it. You know what I'm saying? Is that, you know, her patterns are dangerous. You feel what I'm saying? As well as, like, if it was a black woman, that's just the point I always keep making, because in a society that doesn't tolerate that stuff from black women, if
Mhm.
it was a black woman, it would be so much more dangerous for them. That's the reality of it. And when people act like they don't understand the situation at hand, yes, everybody is going through something, but it is different when it is a black person, because we're in a country that was built on against us, solely us, built by us against us. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so it's always going to be a different conversation. That doesn't mean that we pick and choose and we're going against. I don't want to fight race with race. I don't want to fight racism with racism. But at the same time, it's like that's two different. We're talking about two different things. A racism that one group is facing is not the racism that we're facing. And we've been dealing with this for so long. And it's like now they're taking our history away. They're trying to erase us. Our history is here in the land that they built like, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they're erasing our history from other countries. It's like we're dealing with a lot. And it's like my focus of when started speaking up, hey, I'm gonna start just holding my black community accountable, putting some life into them, because we don't have nobody that's really doing it. Yes, all lives matter. That's always been the case, but that shouldn't be something that needs to be said. All lives should always matter. That should be the fact that you even have to say that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, all lives already matter. Why is there even a movement? Because people don't care about all lives. That's why we have things like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
I just wanted to also address, and we're going to get more into that,
mhm.
trust
Mhm.
me. I just wanted to, what would you tell the listeners today that may have misinterpreted what you said about sexual assault? And also, to maybe to understand the repercussions that's also this have done to you, your family, and your life, because I don't think they understand to the extent I had, a conversation with you of what this has been doing to you as well on the back end.
Necessarily, like, there was really, I feel like if you watch the whole interview, like there were some really strong points that were made, but some people aren't complex enough to understand them, like they're choosing. And some people just can't, when you can't get somebody to say something, that's because you're not educated on that topic. I can't have a conversation with 1,000 people that's not educated on topics that play a part into this equation. We have a whole equation called Love Island, but there's different parts of it because it's Love Island USA. It's an American-based show. We have racism in America. There's different layers to it. So to act like that, there's so many things we're acting like we don't see when it's blatantly in our face and we're blatantly just not calling it out. And it's like, for me, I never felt comfortable enough watching, you feel me, watching those two women get shitted on. Oh, am I allowed to curse here?
Yeah, you can.
I'll slow it down just a little bit. I don't want to watch those two Black girls get like teared down in every single way possible. They came for their looks, their family. Like, I was there watching it because when everybody needed somebody to say something, they tagged me. But before I saw it, I'm seeing 5 things a day. They half of the things I've seen more than probably those two girls that have seen, because of how adamantly I was there to speak up about these certain things. And it just like, every time I think about not saying anything, I'm just like, imagine how bad it would have been if I didn't say anything. You feel me? These people have large followings. That means these crowds are linking up to hate on a Black woman, and 9 times out of 10, it's a Black person. I don't get that. Get that.
Yeah. I definitely think it's very difficult, and it's something that's prevalent, obviously, with Love Island and TikTok and the internet, right? We see it in our faces more, and there's a lot of people that hide behind screens, but I do want to hear, or I would love for you to share kind of what your experience has been like with your family, maybe with work, right? Because obviously, if you're able to, yeah.
So basically, like, what happened with the situation, it blew so much out of proportion with like Stephanie and stuff like that, because necessarily, like, she is a person that I have called out before. You feel me? Which a lot of people, when they're coming into situations, they don't know how deep the story is. You feel what I'm saying? I never just call out nobody for no reason. I always have a reason, a very good reason for calling them out. Depending on how egregious this disrespect is, I've always been the person that's gonna match that energy. People are so mad about me as a singular person, how aggressive I was, but that should show you how aggressive the hate was that you guys did on mass numbers. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people on mass hating 2 Black women. And guess who's hurting from that? The same people that is following me, the same little Black girls that no matter what, we are representations of who we are when we get up on the big screen or when we make it. That's who you represent. For when Shelly went up there and she represents all the Haitian people. I'm Haitian. So, of course, I'm going to stand 10 toes down behind her. When Olandria goes up there, and you could kind of see her experience.
Shout out the Zoes.
You feel me? Shout out to my Zoes. What up?
Too,
like, but it's like just watching those 2 girls, and I realized, but I already knew what they were going to do to them when they got up on there. And I was hoping that it didn't happen. But I knew this time, because I watched it happen last season, but on a very micro level. But since it blew up, you got a bunch of people got kids. We're teaching, regardless if it's kids, it shouldn't be okay. We have kids that think it's okay to say these things. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
we gonna get into this. We gonna get into this. This is more, this segment to just clear up some things, but you are hitting on a very valuable points here. Really quickly, just to make sure we're guiding the conversation, is going into the Amaya screenshots and the alleged screenshots, I should say. And before I jump into this, because as you know, being a Black woman, me and Liz, we're 2 light-skinned Black women. As you know, I'm Haitian American.
I'm Cape Verdean.
She's Cape Verdean. So this is more of a sensitive topic, but I would like to acknowledge our privilege before I get into this conversation, because one, studies show colorism. Obviously there's more opportunities, representations, perceptions in the Black community. It's a really big conversation, and research indicates that light-skinned women often receive more positive media, better workplace treatment. So want to start the conversation there, right? Because we can't acknowledge colorism without acknowledge, I would say, my privilege. That would not be responsible of us
course.
to do. But with that being said, there are screenshots from Amaya's Facebook post about colorism dating roughly, 10 years ago. And some rumors suggest that these screenshots may have been faked. Can you clarify what actually happened in that situation?
Yeah, so I made sure that I wrote my notes down, so I make sure that I hit every single point and I'm clear as possible because
Go ahead. Go ahead. Get your points.
hoes like the clips and shit like that. So, boom. So, I just want to say I don't know who started the rumor that I made those screenshots. I literally the look on my face when I saw somebody say that and they just took it and ran with it. Like they literally just take stuff and run with it. I never made those screenshots. And the fact that you even believe that I did over the person's name who was in it, and I never even posted the screenshots. I never once posted the screenshots on any social media pages. All I did was make a video and I was like, because people the first thing when they came out, mad people made videos before it. And I as after the Stephanie situation, I changed my whole rollout. Instead of being the first person to speak about it, I'm gonna wait until everybody else has to say, so you don't try to make it single me out. But even still, it's only what EJ said, as if 100 people didn't say it before me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they literally said, they was like, I made the screenshots. Oh, I'm the one that's raising awareness about the issues. My brand is calling out racism. So regardless of who it is, if I see it, I'm gonna say that was weird. And before I even said it was weird, the first excuse that they had and they started blowing up is that she was 14. And I said, regardless if they're true or not, age should not be a factor. Racism should not be tolerated even from kids. And the fact that we're even tolerating that is like, we need to start teaching our youth, because that's gonna hurt us down the line. That's how we have more racist people who don't understand the concept of racism and colorism down the line.
Just want to clarify, just so I said the users, excuse me, the listeners listening today and the besties listening today, you did not post that so they can get that
I did
clear.
not post.
You can look at the camera, let them know.
Didn't come
Is
from
this
you?
one?
Yep. Look at your camera.
Okay.
Let them know that it does not come for you, so you can clear that.
Yeah,
that
those screenshots never came from me. You guys can't prove that. And if you can prove that, post it. Most of these rumors, if you have the proof, post it. Don't tell me what I did. Don't give me a think piece. Just just show me what I did. Quite in fact, it's not that hard to look something up. So if you're looking something up and you can't find nothing, then it's not true. And I yield.
I mean, he said what he said, and you heard it here first. And I'm gonna quickly highlight this because me and Liz, and I know the internet, they like to go digging deep and finding stuff. We did speak about that post. And being Haitian, and I know she's Dominican and coming from that culture, there is a lot
of tension between us at that. So it's like it's hard to and it's like I hate that because I really did like Amaya. When she was going through it, I was defending her. There are videos on that, and it's like so much of my traction is gone because my first page was deleted. So nobody understands like who I did ride for, who I didn't ride for. You know what I'm saying?
But what we can say though, because what happened 10 years ago, obviously alleged, till this day we don't know if these posts are real or not real. So just saying what did happen 10 years ago, we can leave it where it's at. But what I can say though is someone that's 14, that's something that that was learned in the household, right? So she was able to inform her own decision. Obviously, once she's left her house, she's Afro-Latina, and that's something she embraces. So I'm like, at this point, we can't fault the girl if she's saying, I embrace my Blackness. And that was something in her culture, which is not right? That's something that's within and systematic within that culture. And it happens in the Hispanic culture. And that's something we talk about. But I'm going to lay that to rest. But just to say, like, it was not you. That has been incorrect and has been proven. And the girl is Afro-Latina. She does embrace her Blackness. And those posts, if we're real, are not right. We do not condone colorism here at Betty Besties.
Yeah.
And I want to make that, and that's period. All right.
Period.
We gonna have to go into the next thing. The alleged Clark is a man that was apparently the post and delete. Can you tell me a little bit about what was interpreted? Can you speak about the post, clarify what happened and your thoughts?
At first, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what they were talking about. Like it was something that was put here and there, but it's not something I shed light to because I'm looking at my post. I didn't say it. I don't remember saying it. And it's like, I don't think that's something I would say. You feel what I'm saying? I know I'd be cursing people out, but I feel like they did stretch it out because in the video that I did have on there, I said that they look like siblings, but that was what everybody else was saying. It's like, you can't fault me for saying that when everybody else said that before me. I just took the joke and made a video about it too. when the Olandria and Taylor situation had happened, I never called her a man. I never, and they're saying like the new thing is that
Yeah.
I posted and deleted it. If I'm pretty sure if I said that, and y'all they're acting like they just started hating me. Y'all been hating on me. You've been watching my stuff. So if it really did happen, I'm pretty sure somebody has the clip and screen record to prove that it happened. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they have a clip of everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my thing is, if like, I just rather the proof. Like, and if you can't find it, don't just say that, oh, it was a post and delete. Now that's the new thing that's taken off. And mind you, it's me versus a whole headquarters. It's like a thousand people in a whole thing. And my face was pinned on the chat. Like, I'm most wanted up in that. Like, and I'm just like, damn, like, and they'll do that. And they literally do forge stuff to make it seem like something that it's not. They're psychotic over there. Like, all of them. The whole headquarters.
They're going to be using AI.
And it's like, exactly. And I just like, I always match their energy, but single-handedly. It was never, I didn't start like joining up as a group until I met the rest of like Nicolandria Nation and stuff like that, who'd be like making their own videos and stuff like that. But beforehand, for 2 months while I was beefing with them, it was just it was their whole headquarters versus me. So of course it's like it's 1,000 people put in there, and they're literally making fake accounts to put it in my comments, and then people are like, he said that, and me think I'm just like, if I addressed it once, I'm not gonna keep addressing it, because it's just like, now I feel like a puppet. Like, now I feel like you're trying to get me to do something, and I didn't even say it in the first place. Now I'm getting tight. So I just left it alone for real, because it's like,
So I know that you said you had your old account as well, right? And you were making content on there, like just your responses to Love Island as it was playing out, right? And just like your thoughts on everything. So what it sounds like is, you know, maybe you may have made a video saying that, based off your recollection, that Taylor looked like Clark. Is that correct?
I said they were siblings. Yeah,
they were siblings. So they looked alike, but you didn't.
But I didn't make it
specifically
seem. They kind of like changed that narrative to make it seem like I was calling her a man.
So you never specifically.
I always called Taylor a bitch. So why would I? Like, that's the part that fits. Like, they tried to switch it. Like, I always called Taylor a bitch. Like, you feel what I'm saying?
You're saying like run the clip, because you never once said verbatim that she looks like a man.
Taylor, like, my whole thing has been calling Taylor sassy. He acts like a woman. He acts like a female when he needs to be acting like a male in certain situations. You feel what I'm saying? So when I brought up the fact that, y'all there's like siblings for real. It's just like, he's sassy just like her. He's catty just like her. And they're both taking turns like kind of whacking Olandria for real. And somehow they've taken that from the last page. It's like one person said it, and then they put it in the ear of another person. I don't have like that page up to,
without like the firm proof that like this is what you said.
Right? And it's like, I don't know.
Okay. I'm just gonna have to say, I keep it a stack here in Batty Besties. I did not see this video of EJ. If y'all want to come for me, come for me. What I do have to say is, though, if you do have it, like he said, run the clip, because I think it's important to have proof, right? I think it's very dangerous to just say things and do not have proof and evidence.
It's incredibly
And I
dangerous.
do believe that EJ, he's a very remorseful, he's someone that, like, if he did something right, he will take accountability. And if he did say that, he would come here and say, I'm sorry, he did not want to call Clark or whatever, call her a man, because that's not what he intended to say. He stands on the fact that he's a sassy. My guy Taylor is sassy. And yeah, I do have a bone to pick with you too, Taylor. But we're going to keep going on the interview today. We do got a bone to pick with you, Taylor, because that reunion, you pissed me off. But I'm happy you were able to clear that up. I think there's one more thing that you wanted to clear up before we move on. I believe it's the Miguel and Elijah situation. Do you want to brief us really quickly on that?
Yeah, I've noticed, like, through my time of making Love Island, like, I've always been consistent on me. Like, I've never acted more or less than what I've always given everybody who I am 2 months straight. You feel what I'm saying? Like, takes have always been the same, never switched up. All these people are so flippy floppy, and it's like Miguel, Courtney, Stephanie, Elijah, they're all people that, of course, I'm popping up on your For You page. Y'all aren't popping up on my For You page, quite frankly. Like, and it's just like, I kind of see that they each have a problem where it's like, I don't even get what the issue is. You feel what I'm saying? Courtney made a video about somebody, about Stephanie's video and she's saying she has a problem with it. And then she kind of uses what she went through to kind of prove that it happened when it literally didn't happen. And then when people who support me were telling her, hey, that didn't happen, you need to take this down, you don't understand, because only my followers know how dangerous the situation was. I was getting death threats. My family was getting death threats. They doxed my workplace. They doxed my grandmother's address. They doxed my home address. They've done so many things. They made CVS open an investigation on me just for them to find out my company did an investigation on me, went through my socials and stuff like that, and still they found nothing that you guys said was true. So the fact that you're a Black woman that advocates for Black people uprising, this and this and that, and then you make a video and you don't even, and they told her how serious the situation is, and she didn't care. She said, "Oh, she's like there's screenshots of her saying she doesn't care." She put out the fake ass apology where she's like, "Oh well, I'm sorry." Well, you really don't stand for what you stand for. You did it because it seems like you've been had an issue with me. You needed a reason to get that issue out. You feel what I'm saying? And you took that issue out. And it's like, you can give me that fake ass apology, but I'm not apologizing for somebody who's just like, you're not what you say you are for real. Because if you really cared about the Black community, you would have did your research on the situation. You didn't. You just made that video based off the fact you don't like me for whatever reason. Because Courtney J is not popping. So.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, there is so much depth here, right? And I think it's really difficult because the internet is wild. Like everything that's been happening, even, with all of the entire Love Island cast, right? There's so much going on that for people to just speak without the research or without the understanding of how dangerous it can be for everyone involved, especially the Black community, I think personally is irresponsible.
I think at this point too, you guys are essentially doing journalism on this entire, Love Island cast. And I feel like as you guys grow a following and grow, I would say at this point, trusted people that listen and take what you're saying to heart.
Yeah.
I believe that it's important for anyone that's especially, we were saying this, you have a responsibility because people look up to you, right?
Yeah.
So just to her too, the least everyone could do across the board, and this is even including ourselves that are sitting here today with you, is do our research. Because if I'm going to talk and stand on business on what I'm saying, because whatever I put online,
I feel how you want to feel. That's so totally
you co-sign it, right?
Exactly.
So just make sure what you're saying is coming out of facts, because therefore you don't realize the repercussions that it's going to, do to you. I mean, even hearing what you went through, it's really heartbreaking. So I'm really sorry about that and what you went through. But it sounds like you said, they found nothing in the investigation. So that's something that also the record is clear here too, because they tried. One thing too, I love to say, and I'm, a follower of Christ here. God will always, I'd be like, God don't play about his children, right? So the truth will always come to light. And like I said, if anything that everyone is saying and co-signing, show the proof. And the truth, again, will always come to light. But with that being said, we're going to move forward to the reunion. This season of Love Island USA reached its unprecedented viewership and cultural impact. It became the most watched original season on Peacock, reportedly generating over 1 billion minutes of streaming, surpassing even Netflix Love is Blind at one point. So social engagement was off the chart with over 623 million TikTok views and millions and billions of conversations around conversations like friendship, accountability, and what is a girl's girl. I'm about tired of that damn word. I ain't gonna lie to you. So no topic was off limits. So let's go ahead. We're gonna lead into the Monday's Night Love Island USA Season 7 reunion. So I'm just gonna go really quickly into the flow of events. Pretty much the way they started off with the final four and then the way they even structured it. Maybe what are your thoughts? Because we kind of felt it was a little bit off-putting, seeing okay, we're starting off and it was just the final four. And I'm like, I don't know, for me, I didn't really like that. I was like, Shelly Girl should have been there, or the original cast should have been there. I mean, they waited for Jeremiah. So I'm just curious to hear the flow and what were your thoughts?
Honestly, I was just disappointed in the voting. The voting was very biased. It just was a reflection of how we do things in America. You feel what I'm saying? Just brainless, thoughtless, no nothing.
You said you were surprised?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I knew that it was gonna happen. I was
disappointed.
You feel what I'm saying? Because Shelly and Ace had real Black love, and I feel like Love Island themselves, specifically the producers, specifically the host, specifically there's so many different factors. You got to understand multiple areas of microaggression add up to a bigger page and a bigger problem. It doesn't matter if it's your one person that's made that little comment. that one person made that comment, made 6 people feel comfortable enough to make that comment as well, and then they keep going on. They're feeding off of each other. That's what I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I necessarily believe, well, look at how the couples are now. The only ones that's lasting is Nick and Landria. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like, I
And
felt as though they were a
Shalace.
whole and Chalet, so you feel me?
Yes,
And
honey.
they deserve their spot in that in that top 4. And honestly, if we're being real, Taylor and Clark should have been in there too, because
Yeah.
regardless, they had a connection, they had a story. You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I feel like the producers kind of prevented it from being like a black love, because that, like, those are all different concepts of black love. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And to promote this could have been like a smooth kickback season where we have our feet kicked up and boom, we're on a pedestal, and we find, at least we could have had something to be happy about, black love, but we couldn't even get that because they stripped it. So
Do you feel like, last night Shelly said that she felt like America lost the plot with Love Island. And obviously, for those of you who have watched last season, we were able to watch multiple different love stories unfold and we're able to write it out. But this season was a completely different energy. At least we saw some love stories, but it wasn't the same kind of vibe as last season, right? So do you feel like that was unfolding based off of like America's voting? Do you feel like the producers should have stepped in? Because it's kind of like, who's responsible for it playing out the way that it played out?
honestly, who's responsible is the show. I feel like the show's morals changed. Last year it was like, um they were for it because they was like, okay, we got a star group. They were really loving that. Last season was the first season that really took it mainstream #1. And
Yeah.
who did that? PPG. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Majority of the PPG, like, is 2/3 black. You feel what I'm saying? We got 2 black girls, and the black community was supporting those black girls down, like me included. But it's just like, it became a different conversation when it came here, because even despite the hate that was going on towards Serena and Janae at the time, and Leah at the time, the show really tried to keep the essence of what actually happened, not try to fidget with clips and stuff like that and clipping shit together. But it's like, we fast forward a year now, we have a bigger audience, and their morals change when they start realizing they had a bigger plot. It's not about, let's not focus on love, let's focus on drama. So then they built the plot around drama, because that's what brought in the views, that's what brought in the numbers. Once their morals changed, they never really was gonna address anything else. Which is why it was important for the black community to call them out, because why are we letting two of our own in a villa, trapped on an island with a bunch of people who clearly don't give a fuck about their well-being? They said Shelly cried every single day. Not once did we see that on the camera, but you showing us everybody else that's crying. You telling me the producers are the one that edits the show.
Yeah.
They clipped it to purposely show that black women don't have this side of them. They're just like this all the time. They felt so hard to address the bullying, but not address the racism. Racism is a form of egregious bullying. You can't change the color of your skin. Why did everybody feel it's like they're all calling out stuff and, trying to shed light on things that are like, there was bigger issues such as the racism, and it was like the biggest elephant in the room. Everybody decided to look left, and I let it slide multiple for weeks. But then I was like, I actually have to say something, and it was started like, I'm really passionate about racism and stuff like that, because we don't deserve that. We don't. We're beautiful human beings, and you're not gonna treat 2 beautiful black women that, at the time in the villa, like, I don't really know them as a personality, you feel what I'm saying? But I'm just always gonna go under the fact that, because as a black man, your job is to protect a black woman, you feel what I'm saying? Regardless of what the case is, you should always assume that 9 times out of 10, like, a person in that level of stress may not know how to navigate that situation. So you need to be the mature one and be the shoulder to lean on, which is what I tried to be during TikTok. So
Yeah. I know, we appreciate that. We appreciate your transparency, but also, like you said, I feel like you were on the front lines. You were on the front lines.
left and right.
Oh, no, you look.
He was clocked in.
International.
Wow.
We're just gonna do high level of just kind of the couples here, but I feel like you did hit a really great point, and I sat here too. I was arguing with this one point too, is the fact that Shelly did cry every single night, and we did not see that. I feel like it was very problematic because, again, it's just like we never even got that side of her, and we got the in
'Cause they wanted to
America's
paint
eyes.
that mean girl
The
narrative.
mean girl or the
And they
aggressive
saw the
black girl.
tweets.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're seeing it. They seeing it because they're building challenges. If you saw Nick Landry, you saw the racism. The only reason why they put Nick Landry on that day is because they saw how strong the fandom was. The racism was always strong than all the fandoms combined. So why was it never addressed? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like they was very picky and choosy with this situation. And it's like, as much as I love my faves, my whole principle that I'm doing this for is for racism, and that's not okay. Where I still have to hold those people accountable. Like,
Then I think you need to run that back because I think a lot of people think your allegiance is to Shalace, is to Nicolandria, but I think you really say an important point here. You said it's not necessarily the people themselves, but the true theme.
yeah, and
And I
what they
think you need to run.
represent.
Yes.
A bigger. It's always been a bigger conversation.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Before Love Island, I am a student leader. I am a person that talks about these issues because
Yeah.
they impact us here in college.
Mhm.
Trump is about to just sign a bill into effect that's going to change how expensive our loans are going to be. He's about to put so many HBCU students where these
It was already
tuitions are
starting. Yeah. They
already
couldn't afford it.
expensive.
Yeah.
We have no housing. These are issues that impact me, which is why I became so passionate about it.
Yeah.
I just opened up the conversation that I was already having to a bunch of other people who felt the same way but didn't know how to formulate the words.
Mhm.
And somehow, some way, it just blew up off of Love Island because it's like we're all watching that.
Mhm.
Now it's like I have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. Now you can't just tell me racism doesn't exist on United States of America because now we have a show called Love Island USA and it's depicting racism. And I have a clear example that instead of talking about this, let me show them something that they get. Let me speak in their lens. Y'all love Love Island? Love Island is racist. Now, since you don't believe that, let me show you how. It's a larger audience. I could reach out to more people with that concept. There's so many people that didn't get it before that are starting to get it now. So it's like, yes, I love Shelly and Olandria. Those are my girls. I love them. They're beautiful. Like, which is why I went so hard because they never deserved it.
Yeah.
But also, it was like, this is how I was raised. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I was raised on an activism mindset. I was raised knowing my Black history. I was raised on stuff like that. And part of learning that is like you have to protect as much as you lead and rebel and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's incredibly important to shine a light and to share that with the world, right? Because they only, a group of them, a big group of them probably only know you as the guy that was, that is supporting certain girls and not supporting other certain girls, right? But it's like, I love that you said that because it's like it's way bigger than that. And I just have the representations and the examples to pull from to be able to engage in the conversation and to point out X, Y, and Z. But it was never just only Love Island and you're just like this Love Island stan that once Love Island is turned off and we move on to September, that you're not going to continue to fight for these matters in the same way that you were doing before.
This don't rub off.
It don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you feel me? With me, it always stopped. No matter what color your skin you are, no matter what gender, it stopped when it came anti-Black. Once you started, you can be a Black person. A Black person who's anti-Black is 10 times more damaging than a racist. Because guess what? The person that's being anti-Black as a Black person, they can now use you as a scapegoat for their racist tendencies. Oh, what we said wasn't racist, even though it was, but because a Black person agreed with what I said, that means that
I can say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't know that one video, and 9 times out of 10, like, these white people are on these apps and they're blowing up people. They're blowing up people who are anti-Black. They're blowing up Black people who portray anti-Blackness. And they believe because they're getting hundreds and thousands of likes and views to keep going. You're not knowing the irreparable damage that you're doing to your own community.
That's why they had Candace in the front of Trump's campaign. I think that's a really important conversation. I just wanted to highlight something really quickly here, so we'll briefly talk about it. Is you mentioned that wasn't how you were raised. I know this is a podcast about Love Island. I just want to hear briefly too about maybe your background, how you were raised. I think that's an important reason to what shapes who you are today.
Well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. If you know my little borough right there, we love each other. Like, spread love is the Brooklyn way. Like, I grew up in Brownsville, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy. I also grew up in Jersey, you know what I'm saying? Split parenting home. Like, I was to and fro. I was on Jersey on the weekends in Jersey City, Hoboken to work, all of that, and then came back to Brooklyn. I spent some time in Coney Island. Like, I just have family everywhere. So I'm very family orientated. I try to be, but it's like, as of recently, I've taken a step back to focus on myself. And, ever since leaving New York, like, I love my city, but I never felt like I could grow here in my city. I felt like I had to break away from, everything that was holding me back. I've been through a lot of stuff that not even ready to open up that vault yet because of I've seen how the internet really can be, and I never wanted to give nobody ammo to feel like they could eat me up because then I'm gonna drag it too. You feel what I'm saying? I grew up with my mom most majority of the time. She's an activist. She's a union worker. You know what I'm saying? So, and she's been a teacher.
Both your parents are Haitian?
No, my mom is Grenadian and my dad is Haitian. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she goes to like different daycares, and she's working on a campaign right now with Port Authority, and she's trying to unionize. She's unionized. She's done so much to the city behind closed doors. You feel what I'm saying? My mom has made history like in the union place and stuff like that. So it's like I look up to my mom and everything that she's doing, and she's ready to run for district council, and she's ready to take it up another step because especially like I'm my mom's biggest battering her back because she's giving me all of this might and stuff like that. Like anytime something go wrong, I call my mom and we're on the phone.
That's why you don't play about.
That's why I don't.
You were raised by
I was raised by it. You know what I'm saying? And then I also I raised my sister too. So it's like I grew up in a female household. So it's like I never played about my mom. I even more never played about my sister. So it's like to just be able to come online and see how they treat them. And what really made me say something about it is because my sister was so mad about, the Olandria situation and how they were deeming her as an aggressive Black woman. Because my sister, she's very smart. Both 4.0s in the household. Can you say the same?
I think I saw that valedictorian.
You know what I'm saying? She's the valedictorian. So she's like as passionate as me, just younger and understanding as a Haitian woman how this world it is. Like I've always wanted my sister to understand what the world she's about to walk up into because I didn't know. You feel what I'm saying? But now that I've learned, I want to make sure that my sister is protected. She knows what she's walking into, and she doesn't lose her voice and her might and that's the reason why I did it. Seeing my sister upset about real world issues that I feel the same way about. Let me speak on your behalf. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's what it started with that people don't even know. Like she's the reason why I started making Love Island content. You feel what I'm saying? Like you need to make a video about this because at the time I have like 20,000 followers. She was like, yeah, you need to get up on TikTok and stuff like that. They're playing with Olandria shit like that. And boom, birth to stars. Wow. So like, thanks to my sister. So
shout out to sis.
Shout out.
Big bro.
I feel like it does also take a lot of courage at the end of the day because these matters, A, are so heavy, B, so prevalent, and C, the internet can be dangerous. Like the world is dangerous, quite frankly. So I just want to, echo to you that I do really appreciate you, as a Black man. And it's great to hear the context of where you get your might from and hear even the emotional side of why it actually matters to you. Because it's not just some guy that's just like talking about Love Island and hating and whatever. Like it comes from love. It comes from giving a fuck. For lack of a better term, excuse my language, but you do, right? And that's why you speak on the matters and run and keep the gas, keep the foot on the pedal, right?
Besties, y'all are gonna have to tune into part 2 of this because honestly, it's too juicy for us, and we're gonna have to deep dive into it. But as you know, we may stir the pot.
It's gonna get hot.
But trust.
You just hit the jackpot. Okay,
thank you, EJ. We are going to have to do a part 2 because, baby, we dissected. We
even talk about the reunion.
we talked about what honestly really mattered, but we're gonna have to run it back. So with that being said, we love you guys. Make sure you guys tap in, stream, give us 5 stars, y'all.
5 star.
5-star girlies. And with that, make sure y'all follow
EJ.
EJ
__1728. Remember this beautiful face. We're gonna be big one day.
Already big. Period. Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
You.